XFM News on point.
It's time for the news on XFM. I'm Chris Tim. The COVID-19 lockdown has affected Uganda's economic growth by a decrease of 4%. According to the State Minister for Finance, David Bahati, the economy was projected to grow by 7% this year, but due to the effects of COVID-19, it dropped to 3%. The minister said this during the installation of the new board members of the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, chaired by Dr. Albert Byabashaija.
From the statistics, you can see that our economy, Moses here, was supposed to grow at 7%, but it is growing at 3% because of COVID. So the impact of COVID is not something that you, apart from the loss of life and others, it is very, very, very serious.
The current leaders of markets here in Kampala, under the umbrella body of the Uganda Markets and Allied Employers Union, UMAU, have appointed a committee to meet KCCA's leadership over President Yoweri Museveni's directive. The Ugandan head of state ordered KCCA to repossess all the government markets in Kampala and disband the current leadership over claims of exploiting ordinary vendors and traders by overcharging them. However, the market leaders have appointed Sempija Bismarck, Kazibwe Fred, Mubiru Dan, Tedu Florence, as well as Godfrey Chiwanuka, to meet KCCA and the Minister for Kampala, Betty Amongi. The committee chairman, Sempija Bismarck, says the president was misguided with false information, and the responsibility of the committee is providing Kampala leaders with the right information.
Whatever they have written in that letter is a lie. There is nobody who has ever paid 3,000 for a bunch of banana. They are streamlined ways of how markets are managed. There is a way we manage our markets. There is a way we charge those dues. And these dues are known to everyone in the market. But I think people who came up with such a document, they had some other ill intentions against the management. And most probably, these people are intending to take away the land where the markets are situated. But they are hiding behind the management, because these current managements within the market have failed them to achieve their goal.
The head of legal affairs at the Uganda Communications Commission, Abdul Salam Waiswa, is optimistic that instituting the Communication Tribunal shall help in resolving communication-related disputes. Waiswa says they are waiting for the president to institute the tribunal. He, however, says that the commission will continue to enforce the communications guidelines as they await for the tribunal.
UCC, as any other person that would benefit from the tribunal, are working on processes to remind the other stakeholders to ensure that the tribunal is constituted. But before the powers that be appoint people on the tribunal, UCC is working well. And whoever is not happy with what UCC is doing, he has an unlimited right to go to the High Court, go to any other court of law in Uganda to challenge UCC. And many people have done so. We've been able to defend ourselves. Many have lost many of those cases. So it's not true that because there is no tribunal, people have nowhere to run.
On to world news. Airline and airport groups have called on governments around the world to provide fresh aid packages for the beleaguered aviation industry. And they say they also want current quarantine arrangements to be replaced with a new testing regime. Without these things, they say the industry faces collapse. The International Air Transport Association warned that airlines around the world faced a fall in revenues this year of $418 billion. At the same event, Airport Council International World said the airports would see their own income fall by $104 billion. IATA Director General Alexandre de Juniac said the financial aid packages granted by many countries to their aviation businesses earlier this year had been put together on the assumption that a recovery would be well underway by now. Now in sports news, Portugal and Juventus forward Cristiano Ronaldo has tested positive for coronavirus. The Portuguese Football Federation has announced the 35-year-old is doing well without symptoms and in isolation. The FPF said in a statement. Portugal faced Sweden in a Nations League group game on Wednesday. The remainder of Fernando Santos's Portugal squad have tested negative for COVID-19 and are available for selection. Portugal drew out a scoreless draw with France in Paris on Sunday and at top of the group level on points with the world champions. And that's the latest XFM News.
XFM News on point.